You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him think. When I was a kid, way back in the Stone Age, the most common perception everyone had of space travel was something like this.
You sure this thing will work?
I have experimented with models.
They ever come back?
They weren't supposed to. Hold on. We're taking off.
By the time I was a teenager, not only were real spacecrafts being flown into the orbit of the Earth, but also on missions to the moon, science had also become as popular to the youth culture of that time as rock guitar is to today's youth. As a matter of fact, before me, you see actual model kits that I built back in the 60s that were based on the space program. Yes, I built my hot rod models and my airplane models and not so much the ship models, but right along with the hot rods were the Apollo and Mercury and Gemini missions and everything that went along with them. It was not unusual in those days to get as presents, either me or my friends, things like chemistry sets, microscopes, science stuff. And as cool as we thought spacecraft were, and flight of them were, and how cool it would be to be an astronaut, we used to also fantasize about building the spaceships, how neat that might be. Fast forward into my late teens, early 20s, and up to today, and my generation somehow or other drifted away from the thought process being a cool thing, and we replaced it more with quick fixes of mental stimulation, music, movies, cars, clothes, that kind of thing. And it makes you wonder, was it ever there in the first place, or were we marketed to believe that, something that was in the public eye would be a cool thing to do? Were we really interested in the science of space travel, or was the fact that space travel was prominent in our daily lives used by manufacturers of things to convince us that, hey, buy some of these, they're cool because they'll make you think of science and all that good stuff? It's interesting because it really was a high-profile aspect of our culture back then. And although science did move forward by leaps and bounds, the general awareness of it in our culture kind of evaporated and blew away, replaced with using the stuff rather than thinking about creating the stuff or figuring out what made it tick. So, are we being led through our lives, or are we thinking our way through our lives? Do we form opinions and therefore choose directions in our life, or are we simply going where we are told to go? It makes a big difference if, as you get older, like me, you start to think about the limited amount of time you have left on this planet and what you're going to do with it. There is little doubt that as a culture, we follow a whole lot more than we lead. So we are the horsies of our culture, and someone is leading us, or trying to lead us, to buckets of water of their choice. Upon arrival to these buckets, we either drink or we don't. What I guess the question and or new thought on an old idea for today might be, are we choosing the buckets we drink from, or are they being chosen for us? Are we capable of thinking on our own, or are we only capable of choosing something someone else has chosen for us? That is today's new thought on an old idea. And remember, a horse is a horse, of course, of course.